Arbor Place Mall and the City of Douglasville are proud to present City Connector with your hosts, Jeff Noles and Marcia Hampton. On today's show, we'll meet the new mayor of Douglasville, Harvey Persons. We'll talk to newly elected city councilmen, Mark Adams and Carl Pope. We'll talk about Black History programming on City TV. Our musical guest today is Milkshake. And as always, your chance to be on TV with the interactive community calendar. Now, please welcome the stars of our show, Jeff Noles and Marcia Hampton.
Okay, welcome to City Connector. I'm Jeff Noles.
I'm Marcia Hampton.
And we've got a great show in store today. We've got some really special guests for Marcia and I. We've got some newly elected officials. We've got the mayor. We've got great entertainment, Milkshake, coming in. And we've got a special piece that Marcia and I are going to talk about after we've talked to our elected officials about what some of the pieces we produced for Black History Month.
That's right. All
right. Well, we're not going to hold this up any. Welcome to the show, Mayor Persons. Glad to have you. We're glad to have the esteemed mayor of the city of Douglasville, newly elected. Now you've been in office for 24 days. It's 24 whole days.
Has it been that long?
It really, it has. So how's the first 24 days been?
Jeff, Marcia, the first 24 days have really been great. It's been a very good experience. We've got to talk about a lot of different things. We've addressed budget issues. We've developed controls on budget. We developed a lot of things that we put in place to make sure we're looking at the fiscal responsibility of the city and looking at it in a good way so that we can monitor it on a regular basis and know where we are financially as an ongoing process. We've talked about a lot of different things with the city and some goals and objectives that we want to look at, things that we want to accomplish. We have set up a date and a time for a retreat work session that we're going to have coming up in February. We're getting input from council members, from staff, from employees, from citizens on items that we want to talk about, address, and what we want to talk about in moving the city forward and where we want to see it go.
Well, Mr. Mayor, what are some of the personal changes that you had to make becoming mayor? I know I see you most mornings, you're there way before I am.
I had one of our local newspapers come in one day or call me and said they'd like to do a day with the mayor. And I asked them what time they wanted to start. And they said, well, what time do you start? And I said, well, I'm usually there somewhere between 6:30 and 7. So if you'd like to get there then, be glad. I'll have a pot of coffee made for you. We can start the interview then. And they said, well, we don't want to start quite that early. And they said, well, how late do you want to stay? I said, well, I think last night I left around 10, so pick an hour somewhere between 6:30, 10 p.m., I'll be glad to accommodate you.
That's good, that's good.
Now that has a little bit different than what you were doing, let's say in December, or even before you started running for office. I know the day in the life of Harvey Persons was a little bit different, let's say January of last year than it is January of this year. Has there been any major changes that you really had to accomplish to get into the role of being the mayor of the city of Douglasville?
Well, I guess you're asking if I've adjusted my lifestyle.
Yes.
The challenges and the things that I'm looking at are certainly different. I'm one that I believe in maximizing every hour, all my time. So it wasn't quite as intense prior to the campaign. I'm glad you qualified before campaigning, because the campaigning was 6 or 8 months of a very intense schedule and a regime of doing things to get elected that you need to do. And it's just that the schedule and the priorities have changed. But to address your question of what was I doing before that, I had retired. But people ask, what's your definition of retirement? My definition of retirement's been able to do what you want to do when you want to do it and been able to afford to do it. And to me, you don't just quit. So I don't believe in unplugging, sitting on the beach or the lake somewhere and doing nothing. So if I wasn't doing this, I would find something to do that would occupy my time so that I could contribute in a very worthwhile basis.
So what are some of the things you look forward to accomplishing this calendar year? I know it's a lot.
How much time have you got?
Some of the things, maybe two of the
That's
things.
right, this calendar year.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to do, and we've already started working on, as I told you, fiscal responsibility is something that's very important to all of us with the city. The city is no different than your household and the budget that you operate with from there. You've got to know where you stand fiscally and financially. If you don't know and you don't gauge it and you don't monitor it and measure it on a regular basis, then you don't know where you're going. So one of the things was to make sure that we knew where we stood financially and then to continue to measure it. So we're working on that, and we've pretty much got that in place. And then we're talking about economic development, jobs, some of the things that we want to do to provide jobs for the economy, some of the things that we want to do as far as where we want to take the city or where we would like for it to go. And to me, that's a collaborative effort of a lot of different people working together, whether it be staff, employees, citizens, the community as a whole. Excuse me. One of the things that we did last week was met with one of the faith-based organizations or groups. It was a collaborative conversation with the different pastors within the community talking about their needs and their inputs and what they would like to see. And then we've also started a collaborative effort with the chamber, working to pull the community together in the different aspects of our community to talk about where we want to go. And then the overall objective is to get people to work together. If people don't work together, we can't accomplish anything that we want to do. There's an old saying, divide and conquer. And if we're divided, we can't accomplish what we can accomplish if we work together. So that is a main objective and a passion of mine right now.
All right. We talked about this a little bit earlier, Marcia and I did, and I'm going to kind of lead into her question for you. You and I had a meeting the other day, and I experienced your lunch cycle, which is typically a power bar and a bottle of water. And you were able to accomplish that as we were talking and driving from one meeting to another. Now, Marcia,
and then I said, the mayor's going to have to make a huge adjustment. I was just with him at lunch yesterday. And then we had lunch last week. I think it was maybe once or twice. So how has that adjustment made? Has that played into your workout routine or what you decide to do?
It has, but you mentioned my hours and routine.
Right.
I was finishing up my workout routine last night in the gym about 9 o'clock. So if you'd like to, I welcome you to come. We, it's after we get through doing some of the other things, but please. And I hope my wife doesn't watch this because she's talked about my power bar and bottle of water lunches. She'd like to see me eat a little healthier, but she was the one that gave me the 3 boxes of the power bars I keep in the desk drawer. But you mentioned the lunch. Yes, there have been a few more lunches, and I'm going to have to refrain from some of those otherwise I'm going to blow up like a balloon.
Yeah, we are eating group, one thing, and at first I said, well, maybe it's just the city, but I think it's Douglasville as a whole. We love to eat in Douglasville. Every time we get together, we're eating.
I've noticed that. That's something my wife and I have talked about with our social gatherings or outings with friends of ours. And I've asked her on a couple of occasions, can we do something where we just don't go to eat? But that seems to be the social experience that we as Americans are doing right now. And if you just look around you here in the mall, the number of people that are eating and socializing, it's part of the American lifestyle now. But to me, that's where the thing with the discipline comes in. You've got to discipline yourself to make sure that you're working it all in. So whether it's with a power bar and a bottle of water going down the road or work out late at night or whatever, it's discipline and how you set your schedule.
It looks like we're just going to have to work out twice as hard.
Well, it's like I had somebody asked me when I first came on board. They said, we heard you're intense. I said, well, it depends on your definition of intensity. If it's running fast, running hard, and working hard, then yeah, I'm intense. I believe that the citizens elected us to do certain things, and there's a certain expectation level that we as elected officials, to me, that are there. And not only do I want to live up to those expectations, but I want to exceed, because I think we have a tremendous opportunity here in Douglasville and Douglas County to do certain things. And if we work hard, run hard, and do the things that we can do to the best of our abilities, and with the excellent staff and the professionals that we have working with us, then I don't think any of us can imagine what we can accomplish if we work together.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I know I probably speak for most staff that we're excited about working with you over the next 4 years. You provide a level of enthusiasm for us, and when you're excited, we all get excited, and I look forward to what we can possibly do for the next 4 years.
Thank you. Does it show?
It does. Yeah. It's good.
Absolutely. And thanks for being on City Connector. Any parting words before we throw it over to the interactive community calendar?
Yes, I am enthusiastic. I am passionate. I live in Douglasville because I choose to live in Douglasville. Where I built my home a few years ago in Douglasville, I could have lived anywhere in the Atlanta metropolitan area to make my living. But I chose to stay in Douglasville, in this county, because I am passionate about it. I am enthusiastic about it, and I think there's great things that we can accomplish if we work together. I feel that we have excellent staff. I appreciate what y'all do. And we have a great group of employees working within the city. And if we set the right vision and empower them and challenge them with what we want to do, and we all get on board with it, I don't think at this point that any of us can imagine what we do. But we got to have the dreams to get there.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you and thank you, and hope that you'll ask me back sometime.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Thanks for being on the show, and we'll throw it over to Kelly and Sarah with the interactive community calendar.
Well, welcome to the interactive community calendar. This is our first show of the year 2012, and joining me this year is Sarah Ray from the Chamber. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, good to see you.
We're Leadership Douglas classmates from
best class ever.
Best class ever from last year, and thank you for allowing yourself to join with us today and this year, and doing this each and every month, where we talk with the community to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. Do you know who we have up first?
Yes. First, we have Steve McFall from Central Baptist Church.
Pastor McFall, step right here between us, and we're going to talk and find out what you've got going on with the community here in which we live in Douglasville.
Well, great. We're excited to share what's happening at Central Baptist Church.
All right. Well, first of all, I think you have a performance. Is that how you're referring to it? I'm not sure, but tell us about who you have coming and those time frames.
Yes, well, we're really excited. Not only are we having 3 major performances at our church, but we're also partnering with 3 community partners in education and bringing. And you guys will probably see it on your screen. But Harris III is actually a professional illusionist from Nashville, Tennessee. All great artists live in Nashville, Tennessee, and he's going to be doing 3 main performances at our church. February the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Is that correct? I think it's the 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'm sorry.
8th, 9th, and 10th.
8th, 9th, and 10th. And those performances start at 7 o'clock. And with him is coming another performing group called 321 Improv. And they're just a comedy group. But these 2 guys have toured together before, and so they'll be performing at our church. But with our community partners, we're actually going to be bringing Harris into about 27 of our local schools, and he's going to be doing a character education assembly there with his illusions, talking about how easy it is as a student to be deceived today. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you guys have actually seen him.
He's amazing.
Yes. At our chamber luncheon, and then also he performed at our Principal for a Day. So.
What is there any charge for community members to come to the events on the 8th, 9th, and 10th?
No, it's absolutely free. Our church is just paying and taking care of all those charges, and Harris normally charges about $2,000 for like a show that he'll be doing at our church, and so and then in the schools, since Harris is a professional artist, we love that Greystone Power, Chick-fil-A here at Arbor Place Mall, and Metro Bank is going to be helping sponsor the performances in our local schools.
Who should people contact for more information?
They can call our church office, and that number is 770-942-7275. That's one thing I did remember today.
You did remember your work number. Okay.
Yes.
Is there a website where they can go to check out what Harris III does? I know there is, and I've been to it. So
Yes.
do you want to share with everybody?
Actually, we have put together just a local website, Harris III in D.C. for Douglas County. And you can just go there, and if you'd like to be a sponsor to help us maybe with some of the other costs of the school assemblies, that's we're estimating that's going to be about $9,000 to have him in these schools. So,
And I understand you guys already have several assemblies throughout the school system lined up.
yes. It's been great working with Dr. Pritz and all of our school principals. Not only is he going to be in public schools, but he'll be in some of our private schools here in Douglas County also.
Sounds like a great event.
And that's what it's about, the community joining together
Yes.
to address the issues and bring that type information to our local area.
Right, and one thing that sometimes people are concerned about is that, we want to keep church sometimes out of our public schools. So what he's doing in our public schools is just character education without the faith element. So, and that's why our community sponsors are helping us in there. It's not really, we organized it, but it's not sponsored in the schools by our church.
Well, we're glad the community has stepped up to help support this. Glad that Central Baptist Church is bringing this to our area. And where is the church located if anyone's looking to attend those events?
Right, it's at 5811 Central Church Road, and if you just go on Highway 5 South and turn left on Kings Highway, turn left on Central Church Road, you'll see us there at 5811.
Y'all are a growing community church.
Yes, we
All right.
are. And we appreciate the opportunity of being here today.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Community events. Who do we have?
He's really good too.
He is.
I mean, you saw him at the luncheon.
I did. I've had the opportunity to see him 2 times now. I think I'm going to have to make a 3rd trip out to see. Come on up, Miss Stephanie.
Hey, good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all doing?
What kind of event do you have coming up?
Actually, we have the Young Professionals Connection. It's a new member bash on February the 9th at 6 o'clock at Highlanders Tavern and Grill. The Young Professionals group is a group of professionals getting together and networking and marketing their business and themselves. And we welcome anyone in between that age group to come out and see what we're about that night. It should be lots of fun. We're going to have appetizers and drinks.
And I'm sure, what was the age group again?
21 to 40.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just slightly beyond that. Just
Oh,
slightly.
you can still join us.
We would let you still come.
let me
I'm a
join
member
it?
of YPC too, and it's a great organization. So,
How many do y'all have participating in that program now?
It's around, averages around 20
Yeah,
to 30.
20 to 30. We have about 100 participating members, but usually our events have about 40.
So it's a great networking tool for the business community here in the area.
It has brought me lots of business with the Douglas County Sentinel for people to be able to advertise with us. So it's a great connection group. So we welcome everyone to please come out and join us.
Okay, can you tell us one more time the date and time of the event?
Yes, it's February the 9th at Highlanders Tavern and Grill on Douglas Boulevard. And please join us at 6 p.m.
If people have questions, where should they contact?
You can contact Sarah Ray
I'm silly.
at the Chamber of Commerce.
Y'all set that up, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
That was cute.
I know. It's a tag team effort.
Thank you, Stephanie.
y'all.
Thank you for being involved in our community.
Hey, we love it. I love this community. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, Sarah, each and every month, if your organization has something that you would like to let the community be involved with, they can do it here on the Interactive Community Calendar.
Yeah, churches, businesses, any kind of organization, schools. We'll take anything that you have to share.
We want our community to know what's going on in our community, how they can interact, can connect. So it happens the last Tuesday of every month here at Arbor Place Mall in the food court area at 12 noon.
Yep, come visit.
Welcome back. And as promised, we have 2 new council members. Well, one of them's not really new.
He's
One of
refreshed.
them's been here before. Renewed. We call him
Refreshed.
renewed council members. Carl Pope and our freshman council member, Mark Adams. Of course, we're glad to have you on the show. Glad you could make it, Councilman Pope. We had a conversation earlier this morning, and Councilman Pope wasn't going to be here, but
He fitted in
we
his
were able
schedule
to.
to be here.
We fit it into his schedule.
You twisted my arm.
I did. I twisted his arm, and I really appreciate him being here.
I'm glad he could make it, by the way, Jeff.
It would have just been you and I and Marcia
I just noticed he was going to leave me out.
having a good 7-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, Mark. Tell us a little bit about what you've experienced in the first 24 days of being a council member.
Well, more than anything, I think it's time management, or the lack thereof, in many instances for me, because I was not prepared for the amount of time that it actually takes in serving in this capacity. It hasn't been a bad thing, but it's just been eye-opening, because I don't think the general public actually have any idea until you are in a position like this how much time it takes to do the job that you've been elected to do.
Mr. Pope, how's it feel coming back?
Well, it feels pretty good. I'm glad to see some of the old faces. They haven't gotten any older, even though it's been 8 years. It's fun to be back, and like Mark said, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of meetings to go to. Some of them are boring, but they're important.
Really?
Yeah. But we just finished a round of them this weekend down at the Georgia Municipal Association Mayor's Day. There was some information we learned that's new and different, but a lot of it is the same people preaching the same story that we've heard before.
Wow.
Have you been surprised by anything? I know you were here 8 years ago. Coming back in, have you been surprised by anything that has changed over those 8 years?
Or maybe some things that have not changed.
Yeah, that's what surprised me. We're still fighting the Battle of '92, which I thought for sure would be partially under construction by now. We had a discussion about earlier today about 20 and 285.
We did.
Whether or not that will ever happen, it's something that needs to happen, but whether it happens, we don't know. It's amazing that the operation of the city has become a lot more technical, and it's a lot more involved, and we have to make room for new people to take on new jobs and to expand a lot of what we've done before. We got to be careful not to throw out the old folks because they have a lot of institutional knowledge, and we have no intention to do that. But there are going to be some changes to the way we operate, which I think will be for the better.
Great.
Now, Mark, coming in, what are some of those things that you would like to accomplish over the next 4 years for the citizens of Douglasville as a whole?
Well, I guess as much as anything, I'd like to see much more consideration and much more work together as a community with the county. I think that's been one of the negative items that we've seen over the past few years, that we just seem to have a hard time getting along with our parent county. And I would hope that we would be able, this council and mayor would be able to possibly turn the corner on that and work with Mr. Worthen and his commissioners to see that is greatly improved, because I don't think that sets a good light on our community, our county, nor our city. And so I hope that we can improve in our relations with the county and take a step forward rather than back.
Carl, what made you decide to come back?
I think probably a little competition between me and my good friend Doug McGuire, who's not here today.
We can talk about Doug because he's not here today. He was supposed to have been here.
I can talk about him whether he's here or not.
What would you like to say about Mr. McGuire? We're happy to have him back too.
Yes.
He can't defend himself, so I'll leave it alone. But no, Doug's a good ally. There are a lot of exciting things that are going to happen between the city and the county. Like Mark said, we're in negotiations with Tom Wortham, and it'd be premature to tell anybody what's going to happen, but there'll be some merging of services, and it'll be a much more cohesive group between the county and the city. It's our intention that we not have any more fights, not have any more battles. We've had enough, and that we should sit down and work together. We're all in one boat together. And
the city is in the county.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
And the county offices are in the city.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, Mark, what made you actually decide to run?
Well, I've been approached for many years to be involved in politics, and I've always denied it or said no or not listened. My wife would probably say I haven't listened. And so, with the building and development industry being on the sidelines right now, I have the time. I have been in some ways forced into early retirement involuntarily. Our mayor was speaking of retiring in your session with him, and I appreciate his comments on that. But I felt as though I now have the time to give back something to the community, to be involved in the community in a much more direct way than I have in the past. And so I've really stood on the sidelines and not really been involved in any way. And I thought it was time to come back and give of my time to do that. And I appreciate the opportunity that the citizens have given me.
Some would say that you were predestined to enter into politics in the city of Douglasville. You grew up next to one of our former mayors. You can share that with us if you'd like.
Yes, Jeff, what you're speaking of is our friend and former mayor, Mr. Charlie Camp, whom I did grow up next door to, lived there for many years beside him. In fact, I may have been the cause for him to leave the neighborhood. I'm not sure, but I was there when he came there and I was there when he left. Let's leave it with that. But no, Charlie is a close friend of mine, has been a mentor of mine, and I admired him as a person and as our mayor for many, many years. But often he said that I asked too many questions and I needed to maybe go back home and ask my parents or my grandparents and give him a break. So, but I'm not going to do that, Mr. Camp. I'll continue to come to you for advice at times, and I appreciate the input he provided me also. But thank you for that.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show today. I believe we've got live entertainment coming up briefly. Any closing comments from either of the two of you before we go to Milkshake?
No?
All right. All right.
I'd just like to say again, I appreciate the opportunity to serve the citizens of Douglasville in our ward, which is presently Ward 4. And I look forward to doing that, and I'm open and available for anyone to contact me at any time.
All right.
Thank you for your help and for the input that you all have had today.
And we look forward to working with you guys over the
Thank you
next
so
4 years.
much. Likewise.
Thank you.
Thanks again, and we'll be right back with Milkshake. Welcome back. Our today's musical guest, Milkshake.
That's it.
Just Milkshake.
Milkshake.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do, Milkshake.
I do smooth jazz, gospel. Play around town a lot. I do Michonne's every Sunday evenings from 7 to 10 out in Hateville.
Okay.
And then I do a Sweet Georgia Juke Joint. It's kind of like every other Thursday, acoustic jazz every other Thursday, and just all around Atlanta and outskirts and out of town and stuff like that all the time.
I know you've been here locally in Douglasville for our summer concert series. Will you be back again this year?
As long as y'all call me back, I'll be here.
All right.
All right. Is there a website where we can find
you can
your
go
schedule?
if you go to milkshake2.com, and it's in the process of being updated. But if you email me at milkshake@bellsouth.net and ask to be put on the evite list, then that way you get my calendar. That's milkshake@bellsouth.net. And just put a little note to add you to the calendar. You get my event calendar so you know where I am all the time.
Perfect,
all right.
Perfect. What are you going to play for us?
The first tune, I'm going to dedicate this to a very good friend of mine, the legendary Mr. Clark Terry, a tune entitled Mumbles.
All right, we'll let you have it.
All right.
You know my seat feet by in the hot hole skating by the zen. Ski the bossy basin by in the hot hole skating by in the hot hole skate that screw the by that. The seriousness out of abundance and in the high Jose Van Jose Dan. Hold it on the Skeleton me do bottom deal down the bone about the bone deal down the Mumbos.
Welcome back. We're having a great time
That's
on
right.
the City Connector. Great music, wonderful time.
That's right. Just heard from Milkshake.
Milkshake was awesome. My notes here say that Fred Perry and Marcia Hampton are supposed to be in this section, and obviously I'm not Fred Perry,
He stood me up.
the Human Resources Director for the City of Douglasville, but I am Jeff Noles.
Yes, you are.
And we're here to talk about two of the pieces that City TV's done for Black History Month.
Yes.
Tell me about them. I know you were involved in one of them. I don't think you were involved in the other, but tell me about them, Marcia.
Well, I know that there are two pieces. One, both Councilman Davis and Councilwoman Bird Danley were involved with. And speaking of Milkshake, he's involved with that piece.
Really?
So, yes, I think the piece was called Art and Music.
I thought it was the art of music.
Oh, Art of Music? Oh, it tells how I write my notes. They're not really that good.
My notes are probably just as bad.
But I know Milkshake's part of that piece.
Right.
Myrna Clayton and James Bignon. They are three local artists that you can hear here in Douglasville as well as all around the metro Atlanta area.
Great.
And the piece focused on how the influence of local music and talent. I hadn't seen it, but
You haven't seen it.
no, I haven't. But that's
But you've heard
that's
about
what
it.
Kelly told me.
Well, it's not actually airing yet,
Correct. It's not February yet.
and it does air in February
Yes.
every Thursday at 8 p.m.
Yes.
Saturday from 9
To
or
12.
at 9 and 12:30.
Your notes aren't that good either.
And Sunday at 3:30.
Exactly.
So Saturday 9 o'clock and 12:30. Sunday 3:30.
This is not like
Thursday,
Gov 101 where they flash the time
8
on
o'clock.
and they
I
correct
don't
us
think,
when
I
we're
don't think they're
wrong.
going to do that. No, I'm pretty sure they're not going to do that. This is you and I.
Yeah, because I think you just totally confused a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in February, look for it. It'll be on. It's a great show. Tell me that was one of them. What's the second one? And you were in the second one.
Yes. And I wasn't in it just because I was black. Can
Really?
you imagine that?
I can't
You
imagine
can laugh.
that.
You
Actually,
can laugh.
I can't imagine that, Marcia. You're a wealth
in all
of knowledge.
whatever. In all seriousness, myself and Fred Perry and Councilwoman Bird Danley were featured in a health piece. Kelly Hunter, communications director, she and I had talked, and she mentioned that she would like to do a health special focusing on health, and then we started talking about how that could work for Black History Month piece, because we all know that based on your race, your culture, certain people are afflicted with different illnesses. So that's what we tried to focus on. My portion of the show was more so focusing on the fact that somewhat of a racial bias because of the condition that I have. Those who know me know that I suffer with Crohn's disease. And one of the things that I was told early on through my diagnosis, or when I was trying to get diagnosed with what I had, was the fact that I probably did not have Crohn's because I was African American, because that was not a disease that typically affect the African American community. So we talk a little bit about, cultural bias sometimes with medical conditions, and how Crohn's disease actually affects the body, and how I try to manage it and keep down stress.
So Crohn's is colorblind? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. I am just saying that typically if you were to look up Crohn's, it's one of those things where they say it does not typically affect the African American community. Now, somebody might ask, does that mean that both your parents are not African American? They actually both are.
I know a little bit about Crohn's because my sister
Yes.
suffers with Crohn's. So it is one of those things you have to manage.
It is.
And one of our near and dear friends, Ed Cahill, also
That's correct.
manages Crohn's.
That's right.
I guess that's the more appropriate
Does he
term.
know that you were going to basically call him out, that he's because he and I are fellow cronies?
You are.
Yes.
But, Ed's pretty open with it. He'll
Yes, he
tell
is.
pretty much anybody.
Yes.
And it's a story that he likes to share because it's important for other people to know what the symptoms are, because a lot of people suffer like you did.
That's right.
For quite some time and don't actually know or have doctors that know what to look for.
Right. All three of us talk a lot about very sensitive topics. The motivation for the three of us speaking on those topics were the fact that typically the African American community, or I should say historically, have not been prone to go to the doctor as often as our counterparts, as our peers. So one of the things that we talked about was making certain that we spoke from the sense of making certain you get your health checks,
right.
Making certain that, grandma down the street, she's not actually probably a registered nurse, letting someone in the medical field try to look at you to see what's going on and listening to your body. So I think it's a very good piece. I do talk a little bit about certain things that people are going to be like, gosh, if I were her, I probably wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
But all in the sake of City TV and the city of Douglasville.
Only for Douglasville.
Yes, only for Douglasville would I do those things.
You want to catch it?
You got the times.
Every Thursday in February at 8, Saturday at 9 and 12:30, and on Sunday at 3:30. So be sure to catch both of those shows, along with a number of other shows that we've done that City TV has produced for Black History Month. I think we said there were 8
shows that we did
There we
produce.
go.
And one thing I wanted to mention about the health show that we did not mention our guest physician, Dr. India Williams, and
That's
she
correct.
is African American as well. She did a very good job, and she's part of the Wellstar Group. She has a practice here in Douglasville as well as in Bella Rica, so we do want to thank her because she did an outstanding job with all of us, not knowing any of our medical conditions before. She did an outstanding job.
That's awesome.
And that's all I had.
That's all you have?
That's it.
All right. So be sure to check it out the month of February. There's a lot of great programming on City TV. And we'll throw it over to the Interactive Community Calendar with Sarah and Kelly.
All right, Sarah, we've got all kinds
Yeah.
of great things happening in our community. Guests here with us today. Who do we have standing between us here?
Well, we have Miss Chan Weeks from Keep Douglasville Beautiful.
I know Chan.
Hi, how are y'all? Good.
Good. Well, I'm here to welcome, to invite everyone actually to the Great American Cleanup this year. If everybody could participate, it's an annual Keep America Beautiful initiative that asks all the people of the community to come out and volunteer in a local project. Whether it's a project that your neighborhood just thinks you need a new bit of flowers out front, or there's lots of litter going through. Get a neighborhood group together and do a project. Or you can also join Keep Douglasville Beautiful in one of our annual projects, and you can contact us for that information. We're in the planning stages of that, and we'd love to have you. All volunteers are always welcome.
So you're looking for organizational groups to help join in on that as well then?
Absolutely. Anybody in the community that has a need for a litter cleanup beautification project, or just we've even had graffiti removal and river cleanups, and you name it, anything good for the environment.
Use your imagination.
Absolutely.
Okay. So now the Great American Cleanup, is that a time span that's a little bit longer than an event actually?
It is actually, Kelly. It runs March to May of every year. So we're, kick it off March 1st and run through the end of May. So any events that fall in that time period, if you do one, let us know about it. We'd love to know about it. We maybe even be able to help you out with it. So
Great. And what's your, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way to find you?
you can find us online at keepdouglasvillebeautiful.org, or you can also call us at 678-715-6975.
Great. It's a great idea.
And Keep Douglasville Beautiful does quarterly awards for businesses. You guys have all kinds of projects and different things for people to become involved with and find out about Keep Douglasville Beautiful.
We do, and if anybody wants to be involved on an even greater level, we have a board of 8 members, and actually we have a current opening right now. So if anybody would like to serve on the Keep Douglasville Beautiful board, all you have to do is be a Douglas County resident or own a business in the city limits of Douglasville.
All right, and
Great.
can get in touch with you there again at keepdouglasvillebeautiful.com.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Chan. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
All right, who do we have up next, and what's our next project coming our way?
Yeah, we have Marcella from the Cultural Arts Center. Hey, Marcella.
Hello, how are you today?
Good. What you guys got going on over at CAC?
All right, well, this month we have a lot planned. We've got the Black History Month exhibition, and it's going to be really, really cool. We've got 3 perspectives, which is actually 4 artists. We have the few songs from Cameroon. They moved here in 2009, and they do African arts, like they do traditional garments and wigs and carvings. They're beautiful. We also have Athlone Clark, and he does these beautiful mixed media collages with antiques and old photographs, and they're huge and monumental. We also have Rico Scott, who is a Grammy-winning percussionist. He's self-taught, and he paints on drum heads and canvases, and his stuff's pretty cool. It's sort of folk artsy.
Cool. He's also a musician that you guys have had a concert on the Plaza, and I know that we have that airing on City TV as well.
We have, and he's actually going to be playing at a reception on February the 4th. It's from 6 to 9, so you can meet all the artists. It's free and open to the public, and there'll be free food too.
All right. Lots of
Sweet.
events always happening at the CAC.
Yeah.
Always. We also have the Kinda concerts coming up. Kimber Chamber concerts, and they're actually little intimate concerts happening at the Cultural Arts Council. The first one up is on February the 12th. It's a Saturday. Or actually, it's a Sunday, and it is from 3 to 5. We have Jeffrey Bianchi, who is a classical guitarist, and I was just listening to his music online, and he's really, really great. So it should be really, really fun. And it's $15 to get in, but if you're a student or you're a CAC member, there's a discount.
Well, why don't you give us, once again, like where they're located and the website that they can find out all that information, because that's a lot to cover and a lot to remember, so we want to be able to give all of our viewers the opportunity to find out where they can get that information.
Definitely. The Cultural Arts Council has the website at artsdouglas.org. You can also call 770-949-2787, and you should be able to get us from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And this is just some of the events. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to call us. We're always there to help, and we'd love to hear from the public.
All right.
This Kinna concert sound like a great Valentine's Day date for someone.
There you go.
Right before Valentine's Day.
Set
You
that
guys
up.
have classes that go on too, and that's all that information is on the website too. So I know there's always something going on.
Thank you, Marcella, for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I know there's a lot of information, so check us out online and call in.
Thanks.
Will do.
Thank you.
Sarah, always a lot of opportunities for people to find out what's
Yeah.
going on in Douglasville, Douglas County.
Yep.
So join us here the last Tuesday of every month from 12 to 1 and be our special guest, 30 Seconds of Fame, to let us know what's going on in our community.
Yep.
Thanks for joining me, Sarah.
Thanks, Cal.
Well, that was a great show we've had today. As always, please join us last Tuesday of every month, right at noon, at Arbor Place Mall in the food court. It's always a happening place, especially when we have musical talent like Milkshake here. And don't forget, you can catch us in other locations, Marcia.
Oh, you're asking me because you don't know?
That's right.
On Comcast Channel 22, as well as on mycitytv.com.
All right. Milkshake, you're going to close us out today. You're going to play us 2 numbers. What's that going to be?
We're going to do The Girl Is Mine by the late, great Mr. Michael Jackson. Then I'll do an old standard, Girl from Ipanema.
All right. Well, take us away. Thank you.
All right,
and
thank
thanks for
you.
joining us.
said the girl is mine, 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 mine. I said the girl is mine, 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 mine. I said the girl is mine. I said the girl is mine. Oh yeah. I said the girl is mine.